everybody doing today? My name is Steven Rosenberg. This is Gene Ginsberg. Welcome to Marketing Success in Under 10 Minutes. We have a really great show for you guys today. What we're going to be doing is talking about the importance of using a process in your business and why it can make or break a lot of different businesses that are out there. You know, the reason that I am very religious about using a process and a systematic process in your business is because it can really save you so much time and frustration and money over a long period of time. And I think the most important reason, at least in my experience, is simply because of the mental ease that it's able to put you at.
Sure.
I don't know, have you ever worked in a business where you have to really deal with processes, Gene?
Well, thank you very much, Steven. First of all, great to be here today and always excited to do the show with you. So in terms of processes, maybe you can kind of go a little bit deeper, because I do have some examples of processes, but are you talking about like standard operating procedure?
Well, so, I mean, that can be incorporated into it. I mean, it could even be something as simple as inventory management. You know, if you have an inventory system or if you don't have a process to manage that, you're going to be constantly, you know, if you think someone stole something, for example, you're going to either have to pull out all your inventory and double count everything and all this other stuff. But if you have a process in place to where, you know, sort of the checks and balances of every day, it's ultimately, in the long run, going to save you a lot more time and frustration because that stuff is always going to be checked up on, always going to be balanced. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, sure. I think for inventory, that totally makes sense to have a process. I can share a little bit from...
Well, it's the process of the employees and how they manage the inventory, not necessarily the inventory system itself.
Okay. Sure. I haven't really had much experience with specifically managing employees who manage inventory, but I can share some experiences from my business and the businesses and the clients that I work with. So,
and like a digital level,
one of the things that I have been working on in my own business is I mentioned a little bit earlier, is the standard operating procedure. And standard operating procedure is something that I think is crucial to every business. And I find that when I work with clients or businesses or I talk to prospects, it's not something that is usually present in a business, like as part of a business operations. And what I mean by standard operating procedure is that you have documentation on how to execute every single piece of your business. So in the event you have an employee that leaves, or if you have an employee that's on vacation or is sick, another person can step in and replicate that exact process without really knowing like much about that specific maybe piece of the business. So that is what a standard operating procedure is. And I've been creating that in my business over the last year, and it has helped me immensely. I mean, it is just saved me so much time. And let me take a step back. I think a lot of times also like doing tasks, which is part of standard operating procedure, has a lot to do with like mindset. And what I mean here is that a lot of times we might procrastinate or we might not handle tasks or projects because we don't even know where to start. We don't know how to do, you know, it might not be very difficult to do, but it's just, we don't know where to start. And so it's like a mindset where we're like, okay, I'm just going to do it later. I'm going to do it later. So we procrastinate. But with standard operating procedure, It's like you don't even have to think about it because everything's already been laid out for you. And so it just like exponentially makes your business and yourself so much more productive that it's been like just an amazing piece of operations for me that I've worked with. I can kind of just go through a little bit of how that works more in detail. So standard operating procedure, or the way I create it typically is, so for example, like how to set up a Facebook campaign. So I create a video that is a screen share of, as I'm going through and creating a Facebook campaign, I actually like have a screen share video and I'm recording myself as I'm doing it. So I have a video of a screen share and that's part of it. And I also have instructions on like specific things, like log into here and go to this particular part of Facebook, and this is how you would start your Facebook campaign. And these are the things you would need. You would need images and you would need video videos and you would need copy, and this is where you would be able to find them. Because I work with employees and I have virtual assistants who help me with all of this, and I've created these steps for them so that, again, if anything ever were to happen, or if I would get another virtual assistant, or if I had to do it myself, I would, I could just do it very easily without having to like try to remember what the steps are. So it's been an amazing experience for me. So, and I've encouraged my clients and my prospects that I've spoken to or businesses that I've worked with to definitely set up a standard operating procedure, and especially it works really well with like marketing processes. So what are your thoughts, Stephen?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're going exactly the direction I'm going, because you can relate it to physical things, but you can also relate it just as easily to digital things. And I think it just really helps, especially the mental state of the business operator or the owner, to be able to have those processes and really be able to utilize that to take on more clients. Because every time you go through that process, it becomes easier, and then you can translate it onto the next business that you work with through your Facebook, or whatever the case is. I just think it's so immensely important to have those processes in place and really be able to use them. I love your idea of the screencasting. I think that's genius. We used to do that all the time, and some people are weird about it, but it's something that I really, really demanded, because it's, there's no other better way to really understand than to actually watch somebody go through that process. And then that way, if you ever replace that person, you don't have to reinvent the wheel or sit down and go through it again. You have it all documented, all right there.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's been such an amazing experience for me from a business and an operations perspective that I cannot even recommend more of a better strategy for your operations than a standard operating procedure. It will save you so much time. You're going to feel so much more productive, or your employees will feel so much more productive. And typically the way I do it with like my virtual assistants or people that I work with on my team is so I create if it's a new procedure, like for example, if it's a new technology or a new part of Facebook that we've never ventured into. So I create the procedure, and then we review it together. So step 2 is we review it together. And then step 3 is the virtual assistant or the employee or the person on my team does it him or herself, like by themselves. So that way, like I do it, then we review it together, and then that person does it. Because I think people learn differently, and so sometimes they might learn like when you're doing it in front of them, like as a demonstration, or a lot of times people learn really well when they're actually doing it themselves. So one thing to keep in mind if you have a team of people is to follow that process and that procedure of like, you do it, then you do it together, and then the employee does it, because I think it makes total sense to have that person learn over time. And then the other key point of this is that you put this all into some sort of document. So this has to be a shared document, but somebody should be like in charge of it. Somebody should be the manager. But yes, everybody will have access to that document to review, and it should be like, for example, I use Google Sheets for that. So I just have columns on like, here's what the process is, here's the login for that process, here are the instructions, and then here are the videos. So it's pretty simple. But one thing to keep in mind is that a standard operating procedure is not something that you do once. It is like a living, breathing document of your entire business.
It's a religion.
Yes, and so
it's an everyday, every second, all the time.
Because things change all the time. Facebook, for example, changes their UI every month, and they have a new feature, and so there's always things to be done. And technology changes, as we know, all the time, and there's new features of every platform out there. So you have to be cognizant of that, and you have to encourage your employees and yourself to remember that it's not just like done once and we're good, we have a standard operating procedure. It is like a living, breathing document. So any final thoughts?
Perfect way to describe it. Yeah, I would love to hear what anyone else thinks about their experiences with this. Do they have any suggestions? Do they have any specific software they've used or experiences But that definitely covers everything that I had on my plate, and it sounds like it did for yours as well. So I hope everybody has a wonderful day, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks.
Thanks so much for watching. We hope you'll continue to get involved and join us as we help you find success in your entrepreneurial journey. Please follow, like, and share with others who will find this beneficial. We'll see you on the next episode of Marketing Success in Under 10 Minutes with Stephen and Jean.